What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So, we've got some exciting news here. The Super EZAs for INT Super JANEMBA and STR Super GOGETA here have been announced. So we are going to dive in and take a look at these kits here. I am very, very excited to see what we are going to be doing, as these are some of the oldest units in the game, right? That have not yet received well, I guess, because we're onto Super EZA, right? But it's just been so long since these guys even originally EZA'd that their original passives are so much tinier than this, right? So I'm excited to see what they do here. All right, so starting out, looks like we got Key 2, 200% stats, Permanent Guard still, which is the same as how his kit used to be, and then high chance to evade. Okay, so yeah, that does compare to his old kit. He had the Permanent Guard. Obviously, our stats are a lot higher, and then the medium chance to evade procs after Guard is activated, and now it's a high chance in base. Okay, interesting. Okay, when collecting... until attacking, chance of evading enemies attack 20%. Okay, so then he's going to have a 70% chance to dodge in slot 1 before he does any attacks, so that's pretty good. Okay. When collecting key spheres, if he's in the first or third slot, then he gets an additional 20% evasion? What? So he's going to be at 90% evasion if he's in the first slot until he attacks. And then after attacking, he would only have 70%. And then he's also giving 40% defense and 2 key for all allies, which he is still providing that support if you float him as a floater as well. So that's good. Wow. Okay, after receiving an attack, he gets some additional stats. Sure. For every attack received or evaded. Oh, this is so nice. They've been doing this a lot with character kits recently, where they're getting the buffs that they need based on attacks received or evaded, which is really, really, really good. Because a lot of the times you needed to actually get hit to build up things, and that's so bad. You don't want that, right? So the fact that you can evade them as well is really nice. And then for those times where you do actually end up eating an attack that you weren't supposed to eat, sometimes you get hit pretty hard depending on what fight you're in. Then you don't have to, one, lose the damage from actually receiving the hit instead of dodging, and then also avoid getting the stack, right? Like if you use a UI Goku card, you're only getting the stack if you dodge. If you get hit, then you take the damage and you don't get the stack, right? So that's really good. Okay, and then after evading, you launch an additional super attack for 4 turns. Just a guaranteed additional super. Okay, awesome. When facing a superclass enemy, we have defense 200% and attacks effective. When facing an extreme class enemy, 100% defense and high chance for attacks effective. Okay. That seems pretty good. I'm really excited about all this damage reduction. This is how they've built the anniversary LRs. The Vegito mainly, just having a bunch of different conditions that are stacking all this damage reduction on him. This guy is going to be quite the behemoth, right? That is obviously a massive buff on this. So we know all that they do change for the Super EZAs is the passive, so we can just glance at the rest of the card. So obviously the super attack effect is going to be the same. This is one of the worst parts about Super EZAs. I think this and the leader skill. The fact that these things don't change upon the Super EZA just means that these things that were created, 4 years ago? 5 years? No, it's been longer. What is that? 6 years. His EZA released 6 years ago at this point. So yeah, this leader skill, this 6-year-old leader skill and 6-year-old super attack effect are just not cutting it anymore. But I think that that's how they're kind of balancing these characters to not be quite as good as the Dokkan Fest, because let me tell you, their passives certainly are. If all of the numbers here were just tuned up just a little bit, this is pretty comparable to one of those Vegito kits, right? Like the brand new Dokkan Fest things we've been seeing recently. So that is very exciting. I'm excited to see how powerful he looks in game. So really quick, we will come take a glance at his links and stuff. So he is a Big Bad Bosses unit, which is really good. Obviously all the best villains pretty much do have Big Bad Bosses, so that's very, very nice. And then he's on a very limited amount of teams. JANEMBA is not... insane with the categories, but the categories that he does have, let me tell you, uncontrollable power and movie bosses are really, really strong villain categories, and accelerated battle is actually very good right now. There's lots of good Majin Buu Saga characters on accelerated battle that have been getting buffs and added to there and stuff over time. And then also the Daima content is on there. Yeah, accelerated battle is just looking very, very good. There's lots of Universe Survival Saga stuff as well. So yeah, definitely a usable spot for him on the accelerated battle team there too. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at Gogeta here. All right, so our basic effects, we've got the key 2, 200% stats, attacks effective against all types, which is very nice. He did have that before. And then, great, awesome. To add insult to injury, we are just going to go high chance to crit. Because obviously, you know, if you have attacks effective against all types, then that means you're basically free type advantage against all enemies anyway. But type advantage doesn't give you actually double damage. It gives you something more like a 1.6, 1.7 multiplier on your damage. Like 1.7 times multiplier. So you're doing a lot more. But then I believe critical hits are actually like upwards of like 1.8, 1.9. And I think those numbers, if I remember correctly, I've heard about this a long time ago, those numbers actually fluctuate just a little bit per hit. There's like a bit of RNG built into them. So sometimes you can get an attacks effective against all types that only procs with like a 1.56 multiplier, and then sometimes you could get one that procs like a 1.78 multiplier. I don't think the range is maybe that wide, but there is a small variance there. And then same deal with the critical hit. I think it has a chance to proc like a 1.8, 1.9, something like that. So the critical hit is a little bit better. And then obviously if you're stacking the two of them together, I think maybe then it does just an inkling more. Maybe. And then I think even with all of this stuff considered, I'm not sure if attacks effective works the same way as guard. Because with guard, if you just have guard in your passive, but you have like type disadvantage, you will actually take more damage than someone who has guard in their passive but is type neutral. Or someone that is just has type advantage but is just naturally guarding, right? So there are those small nuances, and I'm not sure if attacks effective works the same way, whereas like if you are fighting against an AGL enemy but you have attacks effective, if it would be a different amount of damage than if he fights a physical enemy, even just by like a slight amount, right? Anyway, that is enough of my side tangent. Okay, so another base kit thing he's got launches an additional attack with a high chance to be a super. Okay, so JANEMBA just had the guaranteed additional super. He just has the high chance. But obviously JANEMBA had, no, because JANEMBA's was from the slot placement, right? So this is just extra on top of what JANEMBA had, right? Am I thinking of that correctly? Oh, because he had the high chance to evade. I see. Okay. Yeah, but they gave him the high chance to crit and the additional. Okay, that is extra. That is extra. Okay. When attacking, he gets 100% stats, and then when collecting key spheres as the second or third attacker, he launches an additional super attack and then gives attack to all allies. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, he's getting 50% stats and 10% crit chance. Okay, wow, they're really loading him up with the crit and stuff. That's actually pretty bummy because I have a full crit build on him because I built his hidden potential so long ago. It was long before like dodging was the strat, right? So yeah, I might actually need to go and change his hidden potential because definitely like additionals seems like maybe what you'd want. Additionals and dodge balanced. Okay, for every attack performed, he's stacking defense and damage reduction within the same turn. Okay. When there's a superclass enemy, he's getting lots of attack and great chance to guard, and then extreme class enemy, he gets attack and defense, guaranteed crits, and guards. Yeah, they really gave him just the full shebango here. I genuinely think he needs full dodge, because he's just got, like, high chance to crit here, stacking chance of critting here, and then guaranteed crits against any extreme class enemies in the game. Like, yeah, and then on top of that, attacks effective, like, yeah, he's going to be hitting pretty hard for sure. I don't know. Does he have enough stacking attack? He's got the 200% stats. This is multiplicative because it's when attacking. So that does more than 100%. He's got the support here, which does proc for himself. This is going to be the big part right here, right? Because this is also a multiplicative buff because it's, procs upon the key sphere selection. So this is going to be... So yeah, if you're able to get like 3 or 4 of these, that's gonna do quite a lot for you for sure. Think of a unit like the STR Super EZA Super Saiyan Broly. He's got a similar ability to this where he's doing like the big stacking stats per rainbow key sphere obtained. That makes a huge difference. So So yeah, that could definitely affect things for sure. All right. Well, yeah. This guy is going to probably look insane. Let's just go ahead and take a quick glance at his old kit, which obviously is just nothing compared to what we're seeing on here now. Basically, they just kept true with the 77% stat thing, and then the attack's effective, and then, you know, the thing that he wants to select Rainbow Key Spheres, but then everything else has just been massively buffed there. So again, the biggest disappointment with Super Easy A's is that we don't get the leader skill update, and the super attack effect update. This is at least better, because he is lowering attack, which is a somewhat relevant mechanic. There actually have been quite a few very, very tough fights in recent years where some of these, you know, final bosses and stuff can be status effect. You know, we had, I think, a long stretch of about 5 years time. I think it began with the legendary events. Once Super Battle Road was no longer the hardest content in the game, and the legendary Goku event, legendary Vegeta event, GT legendary Goku event, and legendary Frieza event had all released. Obviously, that was a couple years between the release of all of those, but when they released, then we started, I guess when the original legendary Goku event released, we started getting a lot of content where the final bosses were not able to be affected by any statuses. So just having basically any super attacks effects at all that weren't just like raising your own stats were pointless. But this might actually see a little bit of use here and there. You know, the bosses that they're giving us are very, very different. They're not all doing the same thing anymore. So we'll see if that comes into play at some point. I'm sure it will. He's got your typical fused fighter Saiyan links, so all good stuff there. And then, let's see here. I mean, his categories are decent. He is on the new anniversary category, which is exciting, Earth Protecting Heroes. I guess that's something that JANEMBA doesn't have, right? Being on the new anniversary category, because they're both pretty super class focused categories. I mean, Successor's not really. JANEMBA just doesn't happen to fall under that, right? But yeah, I don't know. As far as like, I mean, this is kind of one of the problems with Gogeta cards in the game in general, and like Vegito cards and stuff, like most of these fusion type deals. Like, I don't end up using these cards a ton. And this is part of why, right? Their teams are pretty kind of limited. Usually if I am going to end up using them, it's on a Super Saiyan team. I don't really use many of these other teams at all. So yeah, and then especially some of these in here, like Fusion itself is a really bad team because it's just a very small subset of Fuse Fighters, which is the much better category to be using, and they're giving us a lot more Fuse Fighter leaders nowadays. Even like the new 10th Anniversary Dokkan Fest is a Fuse Fighter leader. But yeah, so, and he's not even giving the extra percentage to the subcategory would be for Potara anyway, not Fusion, right? But yeah, I don't know. Movie Heroes is decent, but I feel like it kind of gets overshadowed by Superhero, which is kind of like Movie Heroes-ish mixed with Universe Survival Saga, rather than just like Movie Heroes in and of itself. I don't know. And then obviously Otherworld Warriors is a completely trash category. Connected Hope, it needs a lot of help. It's not the best, right? Like Final Trump Card is a weird category. It's basically, again, all the Vegetos and Gogetas, and then you're just mixing in all the enemies too. So you're getting like all the Boo cards and stuff, which is weird to build teams with, or you're just using all the Vegetos and stuff. But again, if you're doing a full team of Vegetos and Gogetas, then there's a lot of these categories that they all fit on. But you have to basically run those teams. Otherwise, you know, you can't really make an entirely amazing team out of just like whatever's here. So yeah, anyway, that's my little rant about I'm not a super big fan of like the categories he's limited to and stuff. But I guess the good news, right, is that if they start doing this kind of thing more. What just happened? Oh, I thought I was opening the card. 1 second. Okay, so if they start doing this kind of thing more, where he's got the reversible exchange, where you're able to, you know, exchange him into Vegeta. I don't even know where they're showing that on this card. Hello? This is the special fusion. Oh, I guess it just says here. Oh, weird that I can't see. I guess maybe... Yeah, I don't know how I like view, if there's a way for me to like view the Vegeta. Oh, I guess it would be down here. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, because he has the 2 base versions of them on the card individually, that means look at these categories, right? He's got many, 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 many more. And that's, you know, something that we're not seeing with cards like this, where he's not getting all of the categories that Goku has and all the categories that Vegeta has, just the categories that they would share, right, as Gogeta. So yeah, hopefully we see more of this kind of thing in the future. So yeah, I think that those are kind of the teams you're going to be able to run these units on is kind of the biggest bummer for both of these first anniversary units. They're definitely not going to be ones that you're going to be able to just run in like anywhere in the game. Well, as far as their power, yeah, but you're going to be a little bit limited on the team building. So overall, I am pretty excited for them. I would definitely say I am more excited for the JANEMBA than the Gogeta. But I think that they're both going to be pretty solid and exciting characters, so we will have to wait. I'm not sure exactly when these are going to be coming out. They did get announced like ahead of any, you know, details for part 2 or whatever, so I imagine they're probably just going to be dropping in a couple of days here. So we'll have to stay tuned. All right, that is everything I got for you guys. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.